Hello there, my name is Martin Henley. This is the Effective Marketing Content Extravaganza. And if you're new here, you won't yet know that I am on a mission to give you everything you need to be more successful in your business, providing, of course, what you need to be more successful in your business is to know more about and be implementing more efficiently, more enthusiastically, and more effectively sales and marketing in your business. Because, of course, that's what you need. If you're going to be more successful, you need more customers more profitably. So what goes on here is I'm here giving you everything I know about sales and marketing. That happens on a Monday and What the Series. On a Tuesday, I bring in anyone I can find with experience to share that's going to be useful to you if you are looking to be more successful in your business. Every other Wednesday, Melanie Farmer comes through and we look at the marketing news and speculate wildly about what that might mean for you in your marketing life, in your marketing business, in your marketing career. And on the other Wednesday, I review so you don't have to. Thursdays are about thinking out loud, and on a Friday, we review the very best and the very worst of marketing content from the internet. So if you are catching this on the day it goes live, it will be a Friday, which means that we are reviewing the very best and the very worst of marketing content on the internet. So if that sounds like it might be interesting or useful, now would be the very best time to like, share, subscribe, and comment, because that will give us the motivation to continue on this epic journey. So I'm talking about we and us. Who do I mean by we and us? I mean myself, and I mean the wonderful Jim Cunliffe.
Morning.
Good afternoon, Jim Cunliffe. Good morning. It's morning where you are, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is. Good morning. How are you, brother?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, I'm looking forward to today.
Are you? Excellent. I'm looking forward to today as well, because it always seems to be a lot of fun when we are reviewing the very best and the very worst of marketing content on the internet. Is there anything you want to say? But we always start the news with a boast. And then Melanie Farmer said this week that that's the very best way to start a meeting is with some really good news. Do you have some really good news for us?
I had over 80 people attend my big breakfast yesterday. It was fantastic.
Fantastic. And did everybody have a lot of fun?
Everyone had a lot of fun. So many good comments. I haven't logged into LinkedIn yet, but there's 36 conversations going on about it. I've got to jump in and respond to. Yeah, really good.
That's such a good thing, like old world networking marketing. My boast, because it's the same week that I spoke to Melanie Farmer, will be the same. We actually managed to put some mobile clips together, and they've gone up on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, and they're going up on LinkedIn. So that was a little mission getting that done, but that's actually started happening. So every day now you can expect us to blow up on TikTok. I certainly am.
Lovely.
Good. Okay, cool. Right, so let's get to this thing, shall we? So for those who haven't seen this before, there is a little bit of jeopardy to this. There's actually a little bit of extra jeopardy because we don't know what we're going to be reacting to, so it will absolutely be a reaction. Jim does have a veto. If something comes up that he feels he can't react to without getting cancelled, then we will choose something else. But actually what happens is more likely that I get cancelled, I think. I get more excited about these things than you do. So the extra element of jeopardy is, so the way it works is there are 6 things on the list. On the Clay list, which is Clay has produced for us, we roll the dice, pick a number, and then we review to whatever that comes to. The issue might be that we haven't told Clay that we're doing this, so maybe he hasn't refreshed the list. So there might be something on the list that I've already reacted to. So tremendously exciting, isn't it, Jim?
Roll it. Roll the dice.
Good. Okay. So are you going to hum the theme to Jeopardy now? You're going to pretend you still don't know it?
It's totally gone. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. No, it's gone.
No, it goes. Du, 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 du.
Yeah.
Du, 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 du. Okay, good. So the number is number 3, which means we go to the Clay list and we highlight number 3. And then I come back to us because I'm navigating to my browser and I don't want my browser to betray me in case I've been doing something that, Lord knows, I don't do anything that I shouldn't be doing on my browser, but just in case. Okay, and it's happened. Clay hasn't refreshed. It was number 3 that we did before. That was why Rolex doesn't like football. So now we're going to have to go back to the dice and we're going to have to roll again. So this goes to, what do we do? Bear with me. I can do this. Right, so just to prove, this is the jeopardy that goes on. So we roll again. So
Six.
Okay, 6. Okay, good. So then we go to the playlist, and then we copy number 6, and then I come back to us, so my browser doesn't betray me, and we come in and we put that in, and this is, and we pause it. Oh, okay, this is going to looks interesting. This is how Liquid Death's founder started a $700 million water brand. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Do you know anything about Liquid Death?
No.
Do you know anything about 700? What's that?
Doesn't sound very good for you.
It doesn't sound very good for you, does it? But it'll be like cigarettes or something like that, where it's the self-harm aspect that people really enjoy. Maybe it'll be like that. Where you tug on that little fake cigarette. Good. Okay, good. So I know nothing about this either. I don't know who the founder is. I don't know what the brand is. I know absolutely nothing. This is coming to us from CNBC. That's the network, is it? In the American network. It has 874,000 views. The channel has 266 million views. We know absolutely nothing about this. So shall we roll it and see what on earth they're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Good, let's go.
One exercise that we still do today, we ask the question, what is the dumbest possible idea we could do for this? Because our brains are wired to just repeat things that we've seen be successful in the past. You kind of have to trick your brain to come up with a bad idea to truly be thinking in sort of like innovative territory.
This is 40-year-old entrepreneur Mike Sisario. And when he devised the brand name for his product, he came up with something unconventional.
What's the dumbest possible name for a super healthy, safest beverage possible? Liquid Death.
Liquid Death, mountain water.
Probably the dumbest name.
Yeah, Liquid Death. Water. In a can. Dumb name, skulls on the packaging. But according to Mike...
Right, so I'm having emotions. Are you having emotions? You think it's funny?
I think it's funny because we were just talking about what shit name it was, and yet he's like, yeah, it's a stupid name. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking like environmentally, surely a can has to be the least environmentally friendly. Like water in a can? Water in a can.
Well, cans totally recyclable.
Yeah, maybe.
And plastic isn't. And paper. I mean, there's a guy over here called Water PAC Life PAC. He's doing, paper packaging, and he's flying. He's not flying.
Really?
I mean, he's not made $700 million, so he's not that flying. But But I mean, who's buying this? I mean, we'll find out later. But is it the skater kids? Is it all the cool kids buying this because they're like, yeah, I'm rebelling, and they're actually drinking water?
Yes, maybe. I don't know. We have to probably pay homage to Only Fools and Horses, where they went into the water industry. Do you remember that one?
Peckham Springs.
Peckham Springs,
Yeah.
100%. Okay, great. So let's see what this is on about. So what we're seeing straight away is he's going to the least likely, isn't he? Water in a can, water in a can and Liquid Death. So this is maybe the key to having a brand that will get you $700 million.
Mike, the co-founder and CEO of Liquid Death, that's part of the reason why his company has brought in nearly $130 million in sales this year alone.
If I saw that in a store, or if someone I knew saw that in a store, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have to pick that up and be like, what is this? And once someone picks something up, you basically won.
There's 3 numbers to watch out for in Mike's story. 3 million, the number of views that Liquid Death's first commercial got on Facebook. 100,000, the amount of sales that Liquid Death made in its first month. And 195 million, the total amount of funding that Liquid Death has raised. Here's how Mike Sisario took a funny idea he once had for a commercial and turned it into a $700 million brand. For CNBC Make It, I'm Zach Greene. This is Founder Effect.
Okay, good. So this is kind of like, if you really want to break through, this is a breakthrough story, isn't it? 100%. They are huge numbers, aren't they? Good, let's see.
As a kid, Mike remembers an older cousin gifting him his collection of Mad magazines. It turned out to be a formative moment for him.
I just completely ate that stuff up, and it was kind of crass and vulgar, but it was art, and it was really funny, and it was spoofy.
Mike started playing guitar in punk bands and says one of them had several offers from recording labels to put out a record, but he also felt creatively drawn elsewhere.
I was doing the show flyers, designing the album covers, all the businessy, creative stuff.
Instead of pursuing a music career, Mike opted to attend the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California, studying graphic design and eventually advertising.
I just wanted to make people laugh, which is what really attracted me to advertising, because it seemed like it was more of a place for humor and comedy than graphic design was.
In 2009, a friend of Mike's put him on the backstage list for the Warped Tour in Denver, Colorado. Many of the bands were sponsored by Monster Energy.
I was just hanging out with them, and we saw these, stacks of what looked like, Monster. These guys are drinking it, and it turns out like, oh, it's actually not Monster, it's water, because these guys don't actually want to drink these energy drinks. I remember thinking that was kind of messed up. I'm like, man, that's so sort of sneaky. It's like at that time, it was really only energy drinks who were throwing money at these guys, so they kind of had to take it. But at the same time, it started making me think about why aren't there more healthy products that still have funny, cool, irreverent branding? Because most of the funniest, memorable, irreverent branding marketing is all for junk food. Bud Light, Dos Equis, Snickers, Doritos, Red Bull. And that was, I think, planted the early seed of probably what ultimately ended up becoming Liquid Death.
Early in his career,
All right, so the only question I've got is how come we've never heard of this thing? I mean, it all sounds brilliant. The guy's actually growing on me.
Maybe over here they're just like, oh no, Evian and Virgin, all that stuff is just, that's the way we go. We're clean and this is brilliant.
This is absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
This is brilliant. I mean, like you said, they're sponsored by Monster. They're drinking water because they're like, I'm not drinking that shit. Go live on stage. You fill 3 kids up with that, or 1 kid up with 3 cans of that, and you can't talk. It's fantastic. What a fantastic idea! It's not here because over here, we need it to be in a clear bottle. We need it to have pictures of mountains on it.
So we're too literal, maybe, but we do also have our punk brands. What are they? Brewstar, Brewdog,
yeah, the IPA.
Yeah. So we do have our own punk brands.
And that stuff.
Yeah, you can't stand it. No, okay.
All
right, I'll tell them no then to the sponsorship. I'll say no. We're going with something healthier.
Make the lager great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll drink the lager, but it's just too heavy IPA.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, I'm pressing play.
Mike started working at ad agencies around the country. While the work wasn't always creatively fulfilling, his clients helped hone his own marketing philosophy.
We were working on Virgin America, the airline, and I started getting into Richard Branson, and I love Virgin's sort of business strategy, which was find a really stale category of products and be the one really cool, exciting product in it. And they were able to get all this market share really easily because they were just so disruptive and sticking out like a sore thumb in whatever kind of category that was.
Mike put his theory about funny advertising to the test while working at a firm in Nashville, Tennessee. The health food brand Organic Valley wanted them to come up with an ad campaign for their protein shake.
They were talking to like bros in the gym who are looking to, put on muscle. Like that's a big part of like the protein market. And they knew they had to market differently to those guys than they did like organic moms that they did most of their other products to. So venturing outside their comfort zone, we pitched them this idea of Save the Bros.
Every day, millions of bros drink protein shakes in order to get jacked, yoked, and totally swole. But most bros are unaware of the scary chemicals and artificial ingredients inside these shakes.
And they almost killed the idea right before it went live. And then we launch it and it goes completely viral.
But despite success in advertising, Mike still struggled creatively. So he decided to create his own brand, where he could control the marketing. After an unsuccessful try at craft brandy, he...
Can I just say there is something desperately sad about 40-year-old men on skateboards?
It's dangerous.
Well, it's dangerous. Yeah, you're getting old.
Dangerous. We're too old. We're not built for this shit anymore. I mean, I bought some skates when I was 40. Had skates when I was a kid. Bought some more skates when I was 40. So I fell, man, and it hurt. It's a long way. It's a long way down.
It's a long way down. And the thing is, you get to a point in your life where if you get hurt, you're actually going to feel that for the rest of your life. Do you know what I mean? That absolutely happens.
I had a BMX accident around 40, and it wiped me out for 3 weeks. I built a ramp and all sorts of shit, and the kids were watching upstairs, and they thought it was hilarious. And I just came down, crashed. I was done. 3 weeks on my back. I was a mess.
So, I mean, there's some famous skaters on there. There's this guy, Tim Pool. Who else? Casey Neistat. Seriously, guys, come on, let's grow up a bit. But anyway, let's grow up a bit and have a $700 million water brand. That would be good.
He remembered a pitch he had once made for a canned.
Hold on. He's got a skate ramp in his office. I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
He's got a half. It's pretty cool, I think, if you're 14 or you're Tony Hawk's. Like, there's cooler things.
You know, I'd like a pool table in my office. He's just gone, fuck it. I've got 700 million quid. I'm going to have a half pipe.
I don't think that the skateboard is the look.
Water ad, poking fun at energy drinks that the bands at the Warped Tour definitely weren't drinking.
I always knew that there was something in that idea, and it kind of just stuck with me. And just on the side, over the next few years of working at random agencies, I was always just sort of continuing to develop this concept of canned water and like, what can it really be?
But how could a new product break into the crowded bottled water market, which is valued between $146 and $350 billion, according to PitchBook?
The only way the brand would have a chance at survival is the actual product itself has to be so insanely interesting, where so much of the marketing is baked into the product. Where if someone sees this on the shelf, am I willing to bet they have to pick it up because it's so weird or interesting, and then they're probably gonna take their phone out, take a photo of it, and post it on their social channels for free to their hundreds of followers.
To prove that the idea was viable, Mike decided to produce a commercial for it, despite having 0 cans in production.
We designed a 3D render of a can that looked real. I came up with a commercial idea.
Right, so there's principles in here that are usable, aren't they? Like test before you invest is a really good idea, however you can. And just go right out on a limb and be the sore thumb that sticks out. Like, so you can't go halfway on that, can you? It has to be all in. So there's usable stuff in here. The thing that I find myself arguing against or thinking against is this idea that you could just go from 0 to whatever it is, $700 million, because it so rarely happens. And the other thing that's getting me about this is they've not even mentioned the product. Like, no one cares whether water, like it says mountain water on it. Who gives a shit? It's death water or a liquid death. Do you know what I mean? It's a punk brand.
Idea for this brand that we shot for like $1,500. We put a few $1,000s in paid media to push the video out and to push the posts out over the course of maybe like 3 or 4 months.
Don't fall for the marketing bull. Water is not yoga. Water is liquid death.
4 months in, the video had 3 million views. The page had almost 80,000 followers, which was more than Aquafina on Facebook at the time. And we had hundreds of messages and comments from people being like, this is the greatest thing ever. Where do I get this? Is this real? A 7-Eleven franchisee in Michigan reached out. How do I get this in my stores? So then I used all of that sort of social traction to then actually go get people to take me seriously. And we raised a small round of funding to actually produce a minimum run of like actual product.
Mike was able to raise $150,000 in initial funding, and after finding a water supplier in Austria, sold the first cans of Liquid Death online as a direct-to-consumer business.
Our first month, we made $100,000 in sales, and we spent about $2,000 on marketing. We sold out a product. We didn't order near enough what the demand was. We were sold out for like over a month.
The first big retailer to take an interest in Liquid Death was Whole Foods.
They're really big on sustainability. They loved our death to plastic message to kind of bring death to plastic bottles, cans infinitely recyclable. And they liked that we were talking about these things in a way that no other brand in their store was really doing. They said, hey, we want to launch you full national out of the gate in March of 2020. So we literally loaded into Whole Foods March 15th, 2020, the week the pandemic lockdown started. So that came with its own host of problems, but we still started seeing like real growth in Whole Foods throughout the pandemic year.
While still far below brands like Dasani and Aquafina, Liquid Death sales have grown from $2.8 million in its first year to $45 million in 2021. Mike says they're on track to hit $130 million by the end of this year.
One of the most surprising things to everybody with this was how wide the audience really was for something like this. Hundreds of parents who message us on social saying, "Thank you, Liquid Death, you finally got my 9-year-old excited to drink water instead of soda," because he thinks he has something he's not supposed to have. The construction worker guy who goes to a 7-Eleven and typically buys 2 energy drinks now might be buying 1 energy drink and actually going and buying a Liquid Death. Liquid Death for me is, how do you get all these people who don't typically make healthy decisions to now all of a sudden want to participate in a healthy brand purely from the brand standpoint at first, and they just start incorporating it into their day.
Liquid Death.
This is absolute genius, isn't it? We're not saying much because this is just saying it all. There is something really strong from a branding perspective where it's like the reverse psychology. It's like, well, you're not allowed this, you shouldn't have this, you shouldn't buy this. I'm pretty sure that's behind like 90% of the sin brands. Do you know what I mean? Like the alcohols, the tobaccos, all these things is, you shouldn't really be doing this to yourself. This is genius. I'm so pleased we watched this. Anything to say at this point?
No.
Good. Death has raised $195 million in funding and is valued at $700 million. A big part of that growth has been fueled by Liquid Death's appearance on the shelves of over 60,000 retail locations throughout the U.S., including 7-Eleven, Walmart, and Target, where it sells for about $1.89 a can. But more than anything, Mike says that it's creating an emotional connection to a brand that drives consumers.
People think that taste is why things are successful or unsuccessful, or why one brand is better than another. All the data shows that is not even close to the case. Monster didn't become a $50 billion company because it tastes so much better than Red Bull. Most people probably couldn't pick out an energy drink in a blind taste test if their life depended on it. Our brand is all about comedy and making people laugh. We're not tying our brand to some specific niche like action sports. So I think as long as we're constantly just riffing on culture, this can go basically for as long as something like Saturday Night Live is relevant, because you're literally just a part of culture and making people laugh. At the end of the day, we're really creating an entertainment company and a water company. Like, we don't want to create marketing. We want to actually entertain people, make them laugh in service of a brand. And if you can do that, they're going to love your brand because you're giving them something of value.
Wow. So what do you think? It's kind of exciting, kind of motivating, isn't it?
I wonder what he's done in the coloured cans. Is it different flavours, like a little bit of strawberry and shit like that?
I don't know. I mean, that would be just what everyone else has done, isn't it? Maybe they're just different coloured cans. It is kind of inspiring. You kind of do this a little bit, don't you? You kind of do funny stuff, do you?
I like to think I'm quite funny. I think you've got to entertain when you're talking to people. Yeah, you've got to I don't know, get in tune with them, haven't you?
Yes, you definitely have got to get in tune with them. Yeah. Okay, cool. I just think this is genius and hugely inspiring, and it's gone on in the last 3 years, which has been the worst 3 years in capitalism's history. He's built a 180, 150, what was it, $230 million worth of sales. I don't know. We've not even heard of it, probably just because it's brand new and we're not with the kids. I think you should get off the skateboard, personally. That's the only criticism I have. I actually quite like it. I don't like people normally who are fantastically successful, because I think there's this thing. Let's have a look at the comments. So Francis Calhan says, very motivating success story. True. A bit impressive considering he made wealth from watering cans. I'm 50, retired a while at 45. Retired a while. I have 30% of my capital investments in an IRA, 25% in okay. That's not very interesting, Francis. Sorry, man. This doesn't surprise me, because I've met people who literally say they don't drink water. It doesn't taste like anything. We're in a really bizarre dystopia right now. How it plays into people's disdain for plastic bottles and the ease of recycling cans is pure marketing genius. It is, and counterintuitive to me. I thought that cans were less environmentally friendly. The product placement for this was really impressive, and I'm surprised they don't mention it. Like, Steve-O is always drinking this on his podcast. Lots of hardcore sober people and activists as well as celebrities. It's water, but they made it cool. Good for him. I'm just speechless how anybody can sell water in a can and become wealthy. No matter how you feel about the product, you've got to respect the hustle. And so this demonstrates...
No, you missed one. Go back. There's one by... Where is it? KT Whispers. Let's look at that one.
I don't drink alcohol, and so I bring Liquid Death to parties instead of beer. It's always a conversation starter and makes me feel like I have something comparable. It actually really helped me socially.
Yeah.
Good.
That's brilliant. Because you turn up with a bottle of water, you're like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. And then you got to explain about your alcoholism and your recovery and all that stuff. Yes. Good. I think a really good video. See, this
and
is
I think
point,
there's definitely an opportunity here in the UK for that drink.
Yes.
Definitely. That little store down the road from me, it would fit in there.
Yes. And maybe it's coming to the UK.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because, like, there's so much that's unhealthy in the way of drinks. It would be good if something healthy turned up.
He also said it's Mountain Springs, Colorado, and yet he got it made in Austria.
Yeah.
Well, that's not Colorado Springs, is it? It's not like Austria.
I think Austria famously has like some of the best spring water in the world.
Not American. It's not American.
It's not American, no. So you think it would be in Europe? Is that what you're saying? Why are they taking it from Austria to America?
Can't you source water out in America?
I think Austria is. I think Evian and those kinds they come from the Alps, don't they? In the Alps, Austria
but when it first started, I thought the whole purpose was it was an American sourced water.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Well, you see how far we've travelled in 20 minutes. I've gone through them thinking aluminium cans were environmentally unfriendly, and he was a dick on a skateboard at 40. And you were thinking that it was an American thing. It's none of those things. It's just a huge.
Like when you're importing like juice, you import a concentrate because it's cheaper to ship concentrate. How do you concentrate water? Does you like concentrate it down, bring it to the front, bring it to America, then just add water?
I think you're being insightfully inquisitive, but I don't think this is like the biggest question in this.
From that first initial pack shot, I assumed it was water from American mountains, not Austrian mountains.
Well, you know what they say about assume? Assume makes an ass out of you and me. So assume nothing. So that's the other lesson. Right. The big lesson I've taken away from this is it's about like if you think about how much of the product the brand is, this is 98% of the product. At the end of the day, it could be Peckham Springs, couldn't it? It really could. It's the
doesn't matter where it's from.
It's the marketing.
Doesn't matter where it's from. Yeah. And the merchandising he's doing off the back of it.
Yes. Exactly.
He must be doing millions of pounds worth of T-shirts and caps, and because it's cool, and also and some of that stuff is just awesome.
Yes.
Illustration, just brilliant.
And the only thing I would say then is that like he came from a background, he got to play with other people's brands. Do you know what I mean? So he didn't come from he wasn't Rodney and Delve. Do you know what I mean? He didn't come from the street to do this. He actually had the opportunity to play with other people's brands. And, that's how he worked out how to do it. But this is what I say to people when I'm teaching them in marketing is, like, if you are in a marketing department in a corporation, you got to go to 250,000%. Because if you get 5% approved, you've done extraordinarily well. Do you know what I mean? So your thinking has to be off the chart if you're going to get anything even halfway interesting or useful into the world. Do you know what I mean? And what he's demonstrating is if when you go completely off the chart, that's where you win. So yeah, I think this is really interesting. I'm really glad we.
I really liked the comment about Virgin about finding a niche that's just a bit shit boring, and then just being wow. And that's exactly what he's done with that water over here. There's nothing cool about water.
No.
And yet he's gone. Here you go, punk rock this.
Yes. It's
genius.
And it is the punk rock thing, isn't it? It's like you've got a punk rock competitor, have you? We probably don't want to talk about that person. But
in print?
Yes.
Yeah, there is. And they've just moved over to America. They're just flying.
Yes.
They're flying. They're called Awesome Merchandise.
Yes.
And it's very like that. It's very street, very skateboard.
Yes.
Just doing cool shit. And their illustrations are really what did it for them.
Yeah.
They
And print
started
can
on
save the world, etc.
That's how they started. Very small in a garage, just cool designs, and it just went massive for them.
So I think the lesson then, I think the takeaway is get yourself 20 years spending other people's marketing budgets, and then completely take the brakes off and go absolutely mental for whatever it is you're doing, because that's the way you get to grow a $700 million business in 3 years. And I always caution people against, like, think more reasonably, think smaller, blah, 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 blah. Here's an example. You can literally just blow the lid off something, you literally can. Good. Anything else? Okay, good. Then we have got to the end. So now would be the second best time to like, share, subscribe, and comment, because that will give us the motivation to continue on this epic journey. I want to thank you for being here if you have been here. I want to thank Jim for being here, because he's definitely been here. And we will be here the very next time you come along. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to check out this episode of Reaction Time. If you found this interesting and useful, then YouTube thinks you're really going to enjoy this one, and this is the most recent thing we've posted. If you haven't yet, and you could take a second to like, share, subscribe, and comment, that will give us the motivation to continue on this epic, epic journey.